PowerPoint is ready to go.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Student Athlete 2023 Summer Orientation. Glad you guys can all make it. My name is David White, and I'm your Assistant Athletic Director of Compliance and also your Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Designee. Give me 1 second. Also, today we have Bobby Matthews, our Director for the Redhawk Experience. And we have Eric Gear, our Associate Athletic Director for Compliance and Student Athlete Services.
I have a picture, Stephen. I moved your photo to the introduction to when you introduced your academic piece. Sorry about that. David, would you like me to get going?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Seattle U. It's great to see you virtually, and we really look forward to seeing you in person here on campus shortly. Again, my name is Bobby Matthews, and I'm the director of the Redhawk Experience. I'm a member of the Student Athlete Services team. I've been at Seattle U for over 4 years, and the theme behind the Redhawk Experience is, as a Division I institution, what would be a distinctly Jesuit and uniquely Seattle U approach to intercollegiate athletics. In short, at a distinctly Jesuit university, as Seattle U is, what does whole person education look like? And so I'm going to give you some examples. So from your perspective as a student athlete, there are several programs that make up the Redhawk Experience. Through your 4 years at Seattle U, there will be events and activities that go under these categories, these programs, in order to enrich your student athlete experience. I'll just give you a couple of examples. Under sense of belonging, which is something that we believe is very important for you student athletes to feel belonging here on your team, in the athletics community, and on campus. 2 weeks ago, the entire athletics department and all 320 student athletes, we met in Piggott Auditorium for what we call the Rudies, which is our season-ending award show and skits and games. And it is an opportunity for all in the athletics department to celebrate one another and to end the school year in one big event. That is the Rudies that happened 2 weeks ago. When you return to campus, we will have Rudies Rally, which is our annual kickoff event. And on September 19th, and that will be on September 19th. And we will have games and food and competitions. And it's an opportunity for us to welcome all student athletes to campus. And it is, again, intentional. It's part of our sense of belonging to ensure that all of us in the athletics community are here together working with one another. But just give those two examples of sense of belonging. You can see the programs in the slide. You'll get to know more about the Redhawk Experience and live the Redhawk Experience when you get to campus. Uh, 2 years ago, we created a video to sort of highlight the Redhawk Experience. I'm going to play it right now. If you have any problems with the sound, just let me know.
mindset is super important because it's easy to get in your own head.
Mental toughness is required to be a great athlete.
You can have all the talent in the world, but you have to have hard work.
We're asking him to dig a little deeper, striving for excellence in everything that we do. We're a Division I institution, the largest stage there is for athletics. There is this mindset of being excellent and getting the most out of every part of your experience.
There's definitely a spirit of excellence, not only just in basketball for me, but as a whole person.
I definitely see encouragement to exceed both on and off the course.
Our students come to Seattle U with the intention of being excellent. Our coaches, our staff, our community all celebrates that education they get in the classroom with the experience that we have as athletes. You come out a transformed individual.
It's not just about how we perform on the court or how we do in athletics. They want us to go out and make a difference in the world.
Thank you for that, Bobby. So let's go over some preseason moving dates that are coming up. We'll first start off with women's soccer, July 31st. That's when they move in, followed up by men's soccer on August 7th. Soon after, we have volleyball on the 8th of August, and then both men's and women's cross country, August 24th. Baseball will move in on September 6th, and then men's and women's golf and swimming on September 11th, followed up by tennis on the 13th of September. And then we have rowing and softball on the 14th and track and field on the 15th of September. Dates are subject to change, but as of right now, these are some of our key move-in dates. So let's just go over a couple things. As you transition to Seattle U, your number one priority right now should be making sure that you finish your housing application. Please do that. Log into the housing portal, make sure you apply. And it's mandatory that both freshmen and sophomores live on campus. It's a residential living requirement. And since you're living on campus, you have to select a meal plan. And with that being said, I advise you probably to select the residential meal plan. And as you go on, you can either upgrade it or not. So you have 3 different options: residential, expanded, and maximum. So please make sure you finish your housing application and select a meal plan as soon as possible so we can make sure you get the best option. This is what the housing portal will look like. As you can see, grad students, law students, residential halls for you to pick from, international students, the dining hall, transfer students, and then you'll see important links. So if you're missing anything or if you need help, you see the help desk support right below the SUE account. Also, something else that you should think about as you transition to Seattle U, please provide primary medical insurance carrier when completing your medical history and your Healthy Roster app. Domestic students may elect to choose an insurance plan suggested by the university. International students, it's mandatory that you select the SU student insurance plan. And I'll show you what the Healthy Roster app will look like. So let's say if you're on the baseball team, they'll have the invite. So baseball has invited you to create a healthy roster. And as you're setting up your account, please be as detailed as possible. The more information we know about you, the more information we have about you, it will help our athletic trainers be able to support your needs better. So just make sure you're as detailed as possible. Another thing about transitioning to Seattle U, please log into the NCAA Eligibility Center and request your final amateurism as soon as possible. And make sure you send all your final high school transcripts and proof of graduation and also to the NCAA Eligibility Center. The reason why we ask you guys to do this now, so once you get to campus, that's one less thing you have to worry about and you'll be good to go. Also, as you're coming to campus, please check your SU email as it gets closer to your report date for your Jump Forward account. You will activate that, and within that account, you'll find all your NCAA required forms that you must complete prior to your report date, so you'll be eligible for practice. And then last but not least, every athlete's favorite thing, so on NIL, we will send you out an influencer invite so you can sign up and you'll get all your details. So anytime you take a picture, game day stuff, it'll go through influencer and you'll be able to promote yourself so you can find some NIL deals. And this is what Thorough looks like, powered by influencer. And then on the next slide, we have Jump Forward. This is what the sign-in will look like. So please just make sure you check your SU email, not your regular email, but your SU email. So we will start communicating with you guys through your SU email once you get that. And that's where all our primary contact will go through.
Thanks, David. My name is Eric, and I'm also a member of the Student Athlete Services team. I just finished my 18th year at Seattle U, so time goes quickly, and we're looking forward to either you as a student athlete arriving, or if you're a parent on this call, your son or daughter joining us. But we wanted to step back and kind of describe how we work in coordination on our campus, especially as it relates to student care. So as Bobby was describing, the purpose of the Redhawk experience is to kind of formally, to put formal structure around care of the whole person and how we're developing the whole person. As things will come up and situations might arise over the course of the year, we need to be able to respond to those situations. In athletics, we work in partnership with the offices that you're seeing on this screen: campus ministry, institutional equity, university council, the dean of students, and public safety. So if there is a circumstance or a crisis situation that will occur or may occur, we're going to work in cooperation with the offices and individuals that you see here. We have a very collaborative campus, I think a collaborative campus working environment. It's something that we've worked to cultivate over the years. And we point this out because I think sometimes there is maybe an opinion that, in athletics will solve its own problems. And the reality is we are part of a campus community, and we will always work in partnership with the experts and authorities and the people who can best serve students. We're going to go to those people first and figure out the best solutions to whatever problem we're facing. Some of the other offices that you don't see on here that Bobby works very closely with in terms of delivering the Redhawk experience programming is the Office of Career Engagement, OMA, Wellness and Health Promotion. There is a wide range of great expertise. We tap into those experts and bring those resources to our student athletes. Thanks, Bobby. We can move on. So communication And David, just because I'm already here, I'll keep going with these. But one of the things that we're always trying to develop, and I think through sport, is the ability to relate to one another in community, to develop transferable skills that will help us in life. And so we really encourage and try to help create a spaces where we can speak openly with one another, where we can address situations. We encourage everyone in our department, this includes staff, coaches, and student athletes, where if there is a problem or there is a concern or there's a dispute, start with the source, go to the source, start with that person, listen, be open to understanding a different perspective than you may not have previously thought of. But we try to solve those issues directly. Again, it's part of growing professionally. I think ultimately our goal, and it's in our mission, is to develop that professional formation. These are skills that we'll use outside of sport for the rest of our lives. Now, there are circumstances where additional support is needed, or resource or ideas, or the students have suggestions on maybe ways that we could do things differently or better. So our athletic administration, which each of us on this call would be considered athletic administration, our doors are always open. Stephen's office is in the Redhawk Center, which is kind of a day-to-day building for student athletes, as is David's. So those, as far as a resource, David and Stephen are both in the Redhawk Center. Bobby and I are in the O'Brien Center. We welcome all students to come in and hang out in this building as well. Our doors are always open. If we are around, you can find us, and if we're not, you can text us or call us or reach out or send us an email. Our goal is to be accessible. And then at times, and I mentioned this in the earlier slide, there will be challenges or questions or concerns that may arise on an individual or maybe on a group basis. And then we're going to work with those campus partners, the ones that I mentioned on the previous slide, as well as other resources. We'll make sure that we're bringing the best minds around whatever problems there are and make sure that we get to the right answers and the best solutions. So FERPA, for those of you who may already have, so as parents, if you already have a child who is in college, FERPA may be something that's familiar to you. It is the Federal Education, Family Rights and Privacy Act, and it basically protects the privacy of students who are 18 years of age or above. And basically what this means is there will be, whether it's related to grades or circumstances related to housing or their residence life, there'll be circumstances that as a university, we won't be able to approach those conversations with parents or family members without consent of the student. Students must provide a written consent if we are to entertain any of those conversations or ask some of those detailed questions. We're always available to receive phone calls and listen. We are happy to visit when we see you at games and contests. We certainly want to create community, but it's important that from a federal law standpoint that we always observe the importance of individual privacy. So you may be calling to find out grades. We won't be able to share those unless we are given written consent to do so. The law does allow us to contact parents if there is a kind of an extension safety issue. So if there's a health or safety emergency, we need to bring someone to the hospital. There maybe we've got a suspected broken arm or something, we're going to be able to immediately contact you, bring you into that conversation, and make sure that you're fully aware of the circumstance. And then, obviously, seeking your input on the care of your child. And the law does also allow us to have certain conversations as it relates to financial aid and billing. This would also include insurance and medical bills. And I'll describe that a little bit later. But when it comes to financial related matters, we generally can entertain questions and have conversation with you. And so in terms of integrity, the doing the right thing in all circumstances is always our goal. We're going to try to respond in the right way and follow the rules of the university, of the NCAA and the Western Athletic Conference. So we always start with the University Student Code of Conduct. That is the basis of our expectations in athletics. The Student Athlete Handbook, which can and will be found in Jump Forward, it's available to all students and coaches and staff in Jump Forward, outlines a range of topics and areas where we want student athletes to be knowledgeable of what our standards are, expectations are, how policy procedures will work. Again, everything will tie back to the Student Code of Conduct, and it applies as a student everywhere you go. So we're always cognizant and mindful of being great students, being great community members, whether we are on the road with a team or you're in your residence hall. It's important that we're demonstrating that all the time. And I'm, as mentioned, that as members of the NCAA, there are many rules that are in place to protect the integrity of sport. And it's very important that we observe those. We will work hard to educate all of our teams, our coaches and staff, on those rules, how they apply. But we are also, David and I in particular, are available to field questions. As we mentioned, the door is always open. We would rather you ask a question on the front end than you'll make an assumption and then we have to kind of backtrack and try to figure out, work through a process after that. So our goal is to provide you the education, provide you the information. You're going to get a lot of this when you are getting ready to report. David was mentioning your compliance forms. That will include a number of some video content that you'll view, and you'll hopefully learn some new things. And then we're gonna come together as you report, and we're gonna test you on your skill and find out which teams paid attention the closest to that information. So we have some fun with that. One thing I will also mention before we close out these slides is, please remember that as you're coming into this is a new experience, a new environment. You have there's a lot of adjustment to your classes and a campus and a living experience, and also your athletic team. There may be new schemes that you're maybe not that as familiar with. You may you'll as a first year or even as a transfer, be patient. Learn the things that you need to learn. Remember that not everyone's going to be able to step into a starting role. And oftentimes, as a first year student, that's going to be a progression. So listen, ask questions, pay attention to the people around you. Don't hesitate to ask the juniors and seniors for guidance. If you have a question, if something is, if you're uncertain of something, ask your coach, approach them, ask if you can steal a few minutes after practice, or if you can stop by their office. but the more we communicate with one another, the stronger our relationship will be. And so it's really important. Be patient. You may step into a role sooner than you thought, and sometimes it may take a little bit longer than you had hoped, but everyone on the team has an important role. And not all of them are going to be a visible position to start. But it's important that you show up every day. This is part of what we call the Redhawk experience. It's we call it service or action. Make it a point to show up every day, being ready to give your best. And I'm going to hand it off, I think, there. Oh, no, I have one more slide. Thanks, Bobby. Actually, I have 2 slides. So specific to participation, health and safety, David mentioned the questionnaire that you receive through Healthy Roster for your medical history. It's very important, as David mentioned, that we have a full understanding of your medical history, medications, prescriptions, allergies. All of that information is crucial for us to know how to individually care for you. Each team will have a designated athletic trainer. You will work closely with that individual, but we have also a team of athletic trainers, physician fellows, physicians, specialists, physical therapists who we will contract in regards to your care. So we really tried to put together a comprehensive allied health team that you will access either through the athletic training room. Sometimes we'll send you out to Swedish Hospital, just depending on what the need or circumstance is. When it comes to your participation in medical care for injuries, so as you arrive, you do not have to do a physical prior to arriving for your team. So when you report women's soccer, you report on July 31st. It is not necessary to do a physical prior to your arrival. We will do a full physical with you when you arrive. It is important, as David mentioned, that we receive on your Healthy Roster your primary medical insurance. And the way the process will work is, if in the event that there's a need for medical care, we may need to refer to imaging at Swedish, let's say. We will schedule that appointment. Depending on the circumstances, we may accompany a student or send directions, and a student will go get that imaging. Swedish will bill the primary insurance. We are a little dependent on each of you, once you receive that bill or that statement, to get us that bill back. So as soon as you receive it in the mail, because we're not able to receive that, it's directly tied to your insurance. Once you receive that, you can photocopy front and back. You can send it in the mail. Your student can drop it off to the athletic training room, and then we will pay the remaining balance of that bill. So this is for any injury that is related to participation, practice, even voluntary lifting and or open gym. So if you're doing something related to your sport in our facility, then and there's an injury that occurs, then that it will be a covered injury under our insurance. It goes to your primary first, then we pick up the remaining balance and we will pay that out. It's very important. Again, we'll get them paid as quickly as we can. Our request is that as soon as you receive them, you get them to us, so that there isn't a delay in that payment. We don't want any of those things to get drawn out where it becomes a stress for you. If you have any questions on that, let us know. If you have any individual questions, just ask your athletic trainer. All of them are well-versed on the process. Concussion protocols is obviously cognitive health is something we regard as very seriously. We follow a very regimented protocol for concussion. If there is if we suspect that a concussion may have occurred, We're going to do appropriate evaluation. We do baseline testing to start the year. So we have we do use a cognitive test as part of that evaluation. It is always physician supervised, and we will always return to learn before we return to play. So if a student has been concussed and we have an academic accommodation, we will return to the classroom before we will begin a return to play protocol. The return to play protocol is always a 5-day progression. It's never modified. We will always follow it without exception. Mental health, sleep health, nutrition, well-being, these are all interconnected. So we will be focusing on all of these. I think mental health is obviously a major topic in sport today, more so than I think we've ever seen in at any time, and it's very important for us. So we have a contracted sports psychologist that we work with. Our goal is to eliminate barriers to getting mental health care. We've been working with Dr. Boyer for, I believe, 5 years now as our contracted sports psychologist. We also have another licensed mental health counselor who we work closely with for certain circumstances where it's appropriate. The university, and you may have already heard or gotten literature on timely care, it's been a game-changing resource for us. It really allows students, we encourage all student athletes to register with timely care, but it allows students to have some agency and autonomy to set up appointments that they might feel would be beneficial. That's through telehealth. There's also a Talk Now feature. It's the feedback on timely care, which this has been our first year. This past academic year was our initial rollout year, and it's been the results have been wonderful. So we're excited to continue to provide that resource. This is forward looking, but even our graduates for 90 days after their when they go out into the world right now, they'll still have access to their timely care resources. I mentioned the health insurance. Again, for international students, please make sure you do accept that policy. We will assist you with that cost. It's very important to us that you have appropriate medical care in the United States. So we cover the cost of that insurance for you, and that will be directly applied to your student account. I think we'll do questions at the end, but this is just an example of our webpage for sports medicine. You can see some of the linked information and forms that you can find that are available to you here. We will be sending you out, as David mentioned, you're going to get an email that will invite you to Healthy Roster, that will link you into, once you do that, it will prompt you. We want that done, please, before you arrive again. So once you begin your physical, the physicians have your medical history already available. It's very important that we just kind of follow the order of events. Let us know if you have any questions or difficulties with that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Johnson, and I'm the Associate AD for Academic Services, working in the academic area to support you. We also have in our area Michael Thomas. He's Assistant Director. He's on vacation right now, so he's not here. And then we also have in our area a graduate student, Michelle Tatum. She's a former Redhawk on the volleyball team and currently in grad school here at SU in the business school. We're getting on the home stretch here. I have 3 important slides I want to share with you, so please pay attention to this. So I'm going to highlight the academic support here, but first of all, I want you to know that you will be assigned an academic advisor on campus, in the college that you've been admitted to, okay? And so with that said, in our area, we provide an extra layer of academic support for you here in athletics. Like Eric mentioned earlier, we're located in the Redhawk Center with David. So you're gonna see us every day. We're easy to get in contact with. We're in the same area, working together, so easy to get to. So with that said, the main support we're going to provide for you, we're going to be your home base here in athletics when it comes to everything academic related. For incoming freshmen, and this is what we'll go over with your coaches with, you'll have check-in meetings with us. What those check-in meetings entail is just to make sure that you're moving forward on a weekly basis successfully. You know, we're helping you also get access to resources on campus, navigating things on campus so you can get access to everything easily. Yeah, so in those, and also you have to be aware that at Seattle University, we are on the quarter system, okay? The quarter system, the quarter is 10 weeks long of class, and then you have 1 week of finals. 10 weeks flies by. You're gonna get here, start school classes in September. I promise you're gonna blink your eyes a couple times and you're gonna be in week 4 of the quarter. It goes super fast. So that first quarter, it can be challenging, like getting adapted to, and that's where those check-in meetings can be really important and allows to make sure that you don't slip through the cracks and you get off to a good start academically. Also, your coaches will determine study hall hours. It's a lot of that. Sometimes some teams, if you're a freshman, you're going to have a certain amount of study hours to do each week. Again, that's in the Redhawk Center during the day, Monday through Thursday between 10 a.m. and 2. We have an area where you can study, and then we also have hours Sunday through Thursday in the evening in Lemieux Library on campus. But your study hall policy is determined by your coach, the coaching staff. Tutoring, we have tutoring on campus through the learning assistant programs. Most of our tutoring support is for math, reading and writing, science. Excuse me. We also provide tutoring in-house here for Spanish, math, writing. So we will work with you. When you have those issues, you just come to us and we'll help you get connected to a tutor to make sure you're getting that support as well. Again, you're going to have an advisor on campus that's going to work with you to plan your schedule quarterly, yearly. We're able to do the same down here, but we work together with your advisors to help with when it comes to your class selection. And where we get to come in, where it's important for us to come in is making sure that you have the right balance between academics and your athletic responsibilities. It's important to have everything balanced out accordingly, especially when you're in season. So that's where we play a big role in that. Transitioning into NCAA eligibility, we're also monitoring that on a quarterly basis to make sure you're earning the right amount of credits in a year for your progress towards a degree. That's very important. 36, keep that number in mind. You have to earn 36 credits in your first academic year. And you have to pass at least 6 credits per quarter to be eligible, which you all will do easily. You're going to do more than that, actually. So, but we're there to make sure that we're monitoring that for you, to making sure you're progressing towards your degree in a timely manner in that regard. Travel, at the beginning of each quarter, we provide you with a travel letter, and on those travel letters, it has your dates of competition, but also the dates that you leave campus and the dates that you return to campus from traveling. You will provide each of your professors these travel letters. And that it's 2 things. It's courtesy to your professors, and then it gives them a heads up when you're going to be out of town So you all have, you all can coordinate how you're going to make up exams, assignments while you're on the road. Some professors might say, just take the exam when you come back, or we can work with them to have an exam proctored for you while you're traveling. So yeah. Next slide, please. Okay, this is extremely important. The Alex Math placement exam, extremely important. You need to take this exam by tomorrow, Friday, June 16th. And this is extremely important, especially if you're in the Albers School of Business or College of Science and Engineering, because you have the calculus requirement. Taking that placement exam helps determine where you're going to start in that math sequence to get to calculus. Some of you might be placed directly in the calculus. Some of you might be placed in pre-calculus college algebra. But this exam is extremely important, because then you know exactly which course you need to start in the fall, so you can satisfy that requirement. If you have any questions about that, please contact Nick Kubita. He's the director of orientation programs. But you should have that information in the emails you received. If you haven't done so already, please take that by tomorrow. Academic advising. So you're going to have the orientations for your colleges coming up soon. Please, I know you received those emails. Those sessions, those orientation sessions are extremely important to attend. That's where you're going to get all the information about the college you've been admitted to, things to know about it coming in as a first time in college FTIC student, the important academic dates. You're going to be oriented on how to use My Student Planning, which is going to be your best friend when you get here. This is where you're going to track your own academic progress. It shows you which requirements you need to satisfy, which requirements are outstanding, and it's the tool that you will use to register in courses. So you're going to be oriented on all of that, and then you'll come back in July, and actually register for fall courses. But the sessions before that in June are extremely important to get you prepared July 10th to register. If you haven't done so already, this is just as important as the placement exam. If you have any AP scores, high school transcripts, please get those sent in by July 21st. Also, that will help the advisors get you in the right courses in the fall and beyond, because if you have APR scores, you're going to not only transfer in extra credits, but you might satisfy some requirements as well. And so if you get those in, we don't want to get you registered in a course that you've already you might have previously satisfied with those credits transferred in. Also, in the admissions portal, you're going to need to upload your immunization records. If you don't do that, that could prevent you from registering for the winter. So you want to get that in by August 15th as well. And then get your photo uploaded as well, so you can get your COU ID card. And then also, which is important, you will find in Canvas. If Canvas is the tool online that you're going to have all of your course content, course information listed, your syllabi. That's where you'll upload your assignments, get your assignments. But there's also modules in there for the Voices for Change sexual misconduct training is in Canvas also. For anyone that needs accommodations, if you've had accommodations in high school, if you think you need accommodations in college, you want to contact Kim Thompson in Disability Services. You see the email on the email address on the screen there. This is very important. You want to do over the summer, so you have everything set up for you when you start courses in the fall, and you get the support that you need there as well. And I think that's it. And we look forward to having you join us. Thank you.
I think for time, I'm gonna just move beyond our game here and just make a quick announcement. Under the Redhawk experience, one of the categories is the role that we partner with the professors on campus. And several teams actually do faculty appreciation events. All first years will participate in an event in early October with professors, and we'll work on how best to engage academically. This last spring, we were asked to create a video that is shown to the professors during onboarding and other different training. And it does a really nice job of just sort of describing what you'll physically see on campus for our various teams.
Welcome to Seattle University. We are excited to have you here and a part of our Redhawk family. Seattle U sponsors 20 intercollegiate sports at the NCAA Division I level. All sports except for women's rowing, which competes as a Division I independent, are members of the Western Athletic Conference. In alignment with the university mission and vision, Seattle U Athletics is committed to graduating champions, empowering leaders, and inspiring community to develop Redhawks for life. Our athletic teams compete at venues around campus and beyond. You can catch the men's and women's basketball team along with our volleyball team and men's and women's swimming at the Redhawk Center. You'll also be able to catch the men's basketball team playing at Climate Pledge Arena. Our men's and women's soccer teams call Championship Field home, while softball plays their home games at Logan Field. The baseball team heads across Lake Washington to play their home games at Bannerwood Park in Bellevue. Other home venues include Lake Washington for women's rowing, on-campus tennis courts, and Amy Yee Tennis Center for men's and women's tennis, and Chambers Bay Golf Course and Tacoma Country Club for men's and women's golf programs. At Seattle U, consistent with the mission of the university, the athletics department takes a distinctly Jesuit and uniquely Seattle U approach to Division I intercollegiate athletics, which is known as the Redhawk Experience. This Ignatian approach informs how we live in community with one another. It is how we teach, learn, and compete. Student athletes engage in the Redhawk Experience through several programs designed to develop the whole person in mind, body, and spirit. Those programs include inclusive excellence, sense of belonging, faculty engagement, spiritual formation, community partnerships, career preparation, and Redhawks for life. Each year, Seattle U Athletics hosts staff and faculty appreciation events at one or more of our games. These events are a great opportunity to interact with fellow campus members along with student athletes as they get ready to compete. We can't wait to see you out.
Okay, and for families and supporters out there, there are several different ways to follow the Redhawks. Almost all home games are on ESPN Plus, and then the WAC Digital Network picks up a few others. So lots of different ways to follow the Redhawks. And I'm about to turn it back over to David.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Thank you guys for sitting through our presentation. I know it's late in the evening, almost 7 o'clock, but we appreciate it. So now we're just gonna open the floor to any questions, comments, or concerns. I'm all ears. From the chat, I'm out of state. Are there health insurance options offered through Seattle University for state plans? Eric, can you answer that one for us, please?
Yes, most healthcare plans, unless it's like Kaiser, I know can be fairly restrictive in terms of where that plan can be used. You can double check and see that if Washington is included in that plan. If not, we do encourage you to either talk to your insurance company and or you can select the insurance plan through the university, which is a Washington plan.
Thank you, Eric.
I'm gonna look to see if there are more questions.
We have a question. Where can FERPA consent be signed?
FERPA consent is signed through the registrar's office for academic disclosure, and then the dean of students is another place where you can request to have FERPA consent signed. So that is initiated by the student. It must be signed and completed by the student. And let us know if you have any questions on that. You bet. Let's see. Are there other questions that came in earlier?
I did see one question. Somebody asked, where can they find this recording at? Bobby?
Oh, good question. I have the recording in the PowerPoint. I will send the PowerPoint back out to all student athletes on this call and all incoming, so they'll be able to see the PowerPoint. The recording I was asked to send to Nick at orientations, and then they are going to post that recording, if that helps. I should mention, if you have any other questions, obviously, of course, email me, which student athletes have been doing this summer.
Thank you, Bobby.
Dave, if there are no other questions, I do like to add one thing. David mentioned this earlier, but moving forward, it's extremely important, especially for your advisors on campus. But from this day moving forward, please use your Seattle U email. All communication from athletics, advisors, your professors, anything campus related will at Seattle University will go to your SU email. So please check that email like frequently, and whenever you communicate with us, send it from your Seattle U email. It's extremely important. So
yeah, it's an excellent point. I would say at this point, probably get in the habit of checking it daily. Couple of quick items too. David touched on the move-in dates. Please know that the move-in time for your date is 9 a.m. For sports reporting before September the 6th, or potentially even I think the 11th, those rooming assignments will be most likely a temporary rooming assignment for preseason. So there's a more than better chance that the room that so if you're arriving with volleyball, the room that you will move into or men's soccer will be a preseason temporary room. So consider that when you move your items, whether or not you want to bring everything or you bring a few things. We generally will do the permanent move to a room right around the 10th, between the 8th and the 10th. It will depend on teams traveling. We'll try to find an optimal date and time so that we pick a morning, and then everyone on that team who needs to move to their permanent room, they'll have a few hours to transition and make that move to their fall rooming assignment. In terms of roommates, so for first year students, if you're coming in, if you've not already had a conversation with your coaching staff, please make sure you're checking in with them. We err towards pairing student athletes together. Now, there are times when you may, if you're on this call and you have somebody you already want a roommate, let your coach know that may be a friend from high school or somebody else that you would like to room with. Please let them know, because we are communicating with housing. We are making sure and confirming your room assignments based on what your preference is. Assuming that you're open or planning to room with a teammate, let's make sure we confirm that with your coaching staff. David and I will be communicating that information with housing. And then when you do your room, if you haven't already done your housing application, or you've done your application, but you've not done a rooming assignment, go ahead and put that person in as your preferred roommate. That way the system checks, corresponds with the information that we're providing, and we make sure we get you situated with the right person. If you have any questions on that, please let your coach know, and we'll help clear any of that up. So
Also,
there was nowhere in the housing to indicate athletics. Who do we notify? So we notify, you don't have to make any request for housing for preseason. We notify them by roster. So we already have the list of names. They already have the list of all of our incoming students at this point. And we are working with them on there's the move-in date, and then they'll be assigning the rooms, the room assignments. They're waiting on us for some of those pairings. So the responsibility that you would have, students, is make sure your housing application's done. Communicate with your coach on who your roommate will be, or if you have a preferred roommate, and then make sure that you list that individual in your housing application. There will be an area that lists your roommate. Let's see, athletes move into permanent dorms before. Yes, that is correct. If a team is here for preseason prior to the 8th or 10th, they will move into their permanent room on or around one of those days. Again, it's generally based on the schedule of the team. So if the team is on the road on the 8th, we may delay and do it on the 10th, or if they're traveling the 10th and 11th, we will try to do it earlier, maybe on the 8th. It will let the team know as soon as we are able to work that date out with housing based on the other logistics. And then hopefully you can ask as a parent, you can ask that question and get that information if you wanted to make some plans. Anyone that's moving in, like I said, after really baseball and beyond, there's a high likelihood that you'll be moving into your fall room assignment.
Randy,
Kelly is out of the country on June 26th. What can I do to access information for academic advising meeting, Stephen?
Yeah, so if you're anyone that can't make those advising sessions, they're going to be recorded. So you're going to receive an email to sign up for your session from the college that you're admitted to. And during that sign up process, you'll note if you're able to attend or not. And if you're not able to attend, they will send you a recording of the session. So they'll record them on Zoom in the same way that we're doing now. And then you'll be able to watch those later.
just to answer some more questions in the chat, Randy, what's the #1 mistake that many student athletes' parents make in the past? I would say parents not following up with their children as the process is for the housing and moving in and things like that, thinking that their student athletes have it under control. I would just ask for you guys to stay on top of them during the summer to make sure the process is smooth as possible. So that goes to academic advising meetings, that goes to making sure they apply for housing, that also goes for making sure they request their final amateurism and they're turning in their final transcripts and proof of graduation. Because as time gets closer to the report date and high school students go back to school, it'll be harder to get in contact with their old academic advisors, and that will drag on that process, which can slow them down from practice and competition.
And Randy, I was just going to say it's a great question. The vast majority of our students who come in, they do very well. They adjust and they get established. I think that the important things are use the resources that are available, come and ask questions. Those that generally, the mistakes usually happen where, as David was saying, when there was a question we didn't know that there was a question, and then it goes, we're either chasing down information or trying to correct a situation after the fact. I would also say, be patient. It's a 4-year or 5-year process. Try to enjoy each of the steps along the way. Be there to support your son or daughter in terms of checking in to see how they're doing and how they're feeling and how they're adjusting. Make sure that, as students, take the agency to do the things that you need to do. Introduce yourself to your professors. Do that from the start. Make sure you communicate with your coaches and establish that relationship early. Don't wait for people to approach you. Be the one to introduce yourself and initiate those introductions, and meet people that you may not have met otherwise would have met. Make yourself available. I think if you're doing those things, you're gonna succeed. You're gonna have a fulfilling experience. That was a really good question. Oh, we have 2 more. Stephen, looks like one for you, course registration.
Okay, with course registration, is it important to do at first opportunity? Will it impact you where you are in line or for class? So it's like I said, it's extremely important on July, I think it was July 10th was the day, is when you'll register for the fall. You do not want to miss those advising sessions. That's where you're going to register for the fall. I will give you a heads up for first time incoming students. The first year, you're going to get registered in courses, but sometimes you might not, always get the desired schedule. Okay. And that's typical in your first year. You'll be placed in the right courses, but again, sometimes it might not be the desired schedule. But I will also, student athletes do have priority enrollment, right? And so each quarter you register before the rest of the students on campus. So priority registration is for all student athletes. But that first time coming in, starting in the fall, you'll register with everyone else, but you'll get courses. But to guarantee that you get the course you need, you have to attend that July session, and then afterwards you'll have priority registration moving forward. So I hope that answers your question. So.
And there's a question regarding if a parent has a concern, who is the appropriate person to reach out to, and whether that's email or phone call. I think, and I'm a parent, so I fully appreciate, the desire sometimes to kind of to check in or to relay, but we always we want to make sure start with the student, and if and see how we can help support students resolve any of those matters first. That's always going to be our go-to, our default. But if at any time as a parent you do have a concern or you want to reach out or you have questions, my role, I am the person that you can reach out to. I'll make sure I get back to you. You can email or phone call, text me, whatever's convenient for you. And then we can set up a time to visit. I may request that we have your child join us, just so I can make sure if there's a concern, I'm understanding from them kind of the context behind that, or what some of those concerns might be. But as I mentioned, we really try to provide an open door experience. We really, our department we take pride in the fact that we are a smaller community. We're trying to create that sense of community. I think that's a large part of Bobby's role is to help to facilitate that in kind of concrete ways. And as parents, you are a big part of that. So we always we want to include you every way possible. But we also want to develop that skill set so that when issues and conflicts arise, we're helping students develop the ability to manage those, to create, to build that professional ability to communicate even through difficulty. I know I gave you a long-winded answer, but Andre, to your question, you can reach out to me. Thanks. Well, great. And, maybe ending with that one for now, if just in being mindful of people's time, if there's a question that comes up that you didn't think of on this call, but it occurs to you later, and you are more than welcome to reach out to one of us. If it's relating to academics, you can obviously reach out to Stephen. Any one of us would be available to help with any remaining questions. This is an exciting journey. It's an exciting time. We know this, we recognize it. We're excited for you. We can't wait to meet each one of you as you arrive and you become a part of this community. And our focus is not just next year. It's not the next 4 years. Our goal for you is the next 40, right? The experience you'll have here at CLU, the things that you're going to learn, the relationships that you're going to forge and create, they're going to be your teammates. And most likely many of them, or most of them, will be friends who will be in your life for all the big events to come. So we look forward to that. This is kind of the beginning of a big adventure, and we're excited to be part of it with you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming out. Have a wonderful night.
See you all soon.